The movie clips used in this video are owned by Universal Studios, Illumination, and Nintendo. Please support the official release by buying the DVDs, Blu-rays, 4K, or watching on streaming services. Thank you. Hi. So today, we finally reached the movie where, if you hear Super Mario movie, this is the first one that comes to mind for people. Now, when this movie was in early development, me and a lot of other people were skeptical. Like, it was being made by Illumination. And if you don't know who that is, they're the people who made Despicable Me and the Minions movies. So, yeah, we were all getting kind of sick of those movies, so for that, we were not too enthusiastic. And some of the casting was a bit questionable, like there's Chris Pratt as Mario, Jack Black as Bowser. Yes, after all these movies we've looked at, he's now called Bowser. And Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. Yeah. But when the first trailer came out, it did look promising. Granted, Mario's voice wasn't what we were used to from the games. But when the movie came out, I actually loved it. Like, no joke. I saw this movie in theaters 3 times. Twice with family members, once with a friend. And when this movie came out physically, I bought the 4K. But that was 2 years ago, so I want to check this movie out again and see, was it actually a good movie, or were they just really excited to see a faithful adaptation of the Mario games on the big screen? Let's find out. The movie starts in a snowy area where we see Bowser's fortress heading into an icy kingdom where they set up what looks to be an epic fight between Bowser's army of Koopa Troopas and an army of penguins. But they barely put up any fight, and Bowser burns down their kingdom and breaks open a power-up block and gets the Power Star out of it. We then cut to a commercial advertising the Super Mario Bros. Plumbing service. And after the commercial, we actually get a pretty cool voice cameo from Charles Martinet. Yeah, the Mario from the games actually makes an appearance in this movie. And it's as a caricature of someone who's clearly supposed to be Jumpman. And if you don't know who that is, that's what Mario was called in the original Donkey Kong game he first appeared in. And funny enough, after this scene, you actually see him playing a Donkey Kong game. So, little extra heads up, I will not point out every single detail in this movie. There is a lot of them, but I will not point out every single one. You can watch another video on YouTube for that. But I will point out the ones I find the most interesting or in your face. Afterwards, they see their old employer who makes fun of them for leaving to start their own business. But then they get a call to their first job, and when they get going, their van ends up breaking down. Wait, didn't something like this happen in the live-action movie we looked at last time? Leading to them going on foot, and I do love how it looks like a video game. But when they get there, things only get worse when they get attacked by a dog and end up wrecking the place. When they get home later, most of the family even makes fun of them for starting their own business. Also, Charles Martinet does the voice of Mario's father as well, and I don't know why, but it feels like he's doing a bit of his Wario voice when he does him. Later on, we see Mario playing some Nintendo games, when he then changes the channel to the news and sees that a part of Brooklyn is flooding, and he gets the idea that if he and Luigi can unclog it, they can be seen as heroes. But they can't even do that right and end up in a part of the sewer that looks unmaintained for years. Where they then come across a big green pipe, and when they go in, they get sent to a weird void that looks in between dimensions. Okay, call me crazy, but am I the only one who notices that all 3 of these Mario movies has a scene of them going through a portal in a similar fashion? Please tell me I'm not the only one who noticed. But they end up separated, and Mario goes to a place filled with mushrooms as far as the eye can see, where he runs into a mushroom man named Toad, who, after hearing about what happened to him, decides to take him to their princess to help. Where we cut to Luigi, who ended up in a much scarier place and ends up being chased by a bunch of dry bones, where he does find a castle to hide in, but it's filled with Shy Guys. Then we cut back to Mario, who is being escorted by Toad through the Mushroom Kingdom, and I gotta say, I do love how well they made this place. Okay, so another thing I wanted to point out about this movie is that when they're in the human world, all the music is what you would expect, but when they get to the Mushroom Kingdom, all the music is actually played by an orchestra, and it's music from the games, and frankly, it sounds great. Just wanted to bring that up. Anyways, they make it to the castle and are stopped at the gate by the guard, saying that Peach is in another castle. Get it? But Toad distracts them so Mario can sneak in, but he's chased by more guards. Then we cut to the throne/war room, where we see Princess Peach. Okay, I just want to get this off my chest. I feel like Peach is my least favorite voice in the movie. Like, don't get me wrong, like, everyone is trying, but was everyone else we were skeptical of? It sounded like they were trying to do a voice that fit their character. But with Peach, sounds more like they got insert famous celebrity to drive up ticket sales. I mean, the rest of the cast is practically that, but I don't know, with Peach, it seems like she was the least interested to be here. Then the Toads bring up how Bowser already has the Power Star and plans to use it to destroy the Mushroom Kingdom. With Peach saying she does have a plan to make an alliance with the Kongs, who apparently have a stubborn leader who Peach thinks she can reason with. After she leaves, Mario runs into her, and after she gets a good look at him, she is surprised to see another human. Then as Mario tells her why he's here, she is willing to help save Luigi, but won't let Mario face Bowser due to his size. But he ain't backing down, so she takes him to an obstacle course, mostly to show Mario what he'd be in for if he decided to tag along, and after she gives a demonstration on how to get through it, Mario asks how to do it himself, and Peach here introduces the power-ups, which give them special abilities when they're used, but are gone after getting hit once, leading to a training montage of Mario trying to get through the obstacle course with the song I Need a Hero playing, and almost makes it after an unspecified amount of hours pass by. And despite not getting all the way through, she does let him tag along after seeing how far he's willing to go. Then we cut to Bowser's castle with all of his minions partying, where he then goes on to say his master plan is actually to get Peach to marry him, with his army not really vibing with this plan. But when he brings up that if she says no, he'll destroy the whole kingdom, which they are all for. And while all this is going on, we see Luigi being taken in by the Shy Guys he met earlier in that abandoned castle. Then we cut to Mario and Peach heading off to the land of the Kongs to hopefully get their army to fight Bowser, with the Toad Mario met earlier tagging along, and I will admit, seeing all the different locations from the game and the scene is actually pretty nice to see. Then we cut to what is either catchy or really annoying, or you're just indifferent to it, Bowser singing the song Peaches, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't even a little amused by it. But then he's interrupted by Kamek, who informs him about Mario being trained by Peach, and Bowser wondering if she likes Mario over him. Then we cut back to the others in a fire flower field, and after Peach uses one to start a fire, we get a brief backstory on how the Toads found her one day, and after living with them long enough, they made her their princess. With Mario even wondering if she's even from his world, given how she's human. Okay, so another thing I find odd about this movie is that we never see Mario use the fire flower. Yeah, I know it might sound like a nitpick, but it's one of the original power-ups for God's sakes, and we never see Mario use it. Like, we do briefly see him use it in the Japanese movie we looked at earlier, but still, I feel like they should have let him use it at least once. By the way, if you're liking this video, please watch my other Mario videos. They need the views. We then cut back to Luigi, who is taken to Bowser, who starts asking him about Mario and if Peach would like him. And even when being tortured, he still hypes up his brother despite how he could be killed over this. Then he throws Luigi in the dungeon, and one of the inmates is Illuma from Mario Galaxy, who says the most disturbing things in such a happy manner that it ends up being one of the funniest running gags in the movie. Then we see Mario, Peach, and Toad make it to the land of the Kongs, and when they ask to see the king, the guy who I think is supposed to be Funky Kong ends up deciding to take them there on, well, a cart. Yeah, so all of the references to Mario Kart happen mostly in the land of the Kongs. Then they meet the king, who is Cranky Kong, and I gotta say, he makes me laugh. I don't know what it is, but I can picture myself being like this if I ever get old. Who says he will let them have his army, but only if Mario could beat his best warrior, which he agrees to despite Peach's warnings. And when we see Mario in the arena, we find out his opponent is Cranky's son, Donkey Kong. And I'm not gonna lie, hearing the DK rap from Donkey Kong 64 during his entrance was something I was not expecting to see in this movie. Also, Cranky leaves power-ups around the arena for Mario because he wants this fight to be interesting. And the first power-up he gets is what he thinks is a super mushroom, but is actually a mini mushroom. Right out of the video game, New Super Mario Bros. On Nintendo DS. But after getting hit, he does return to normal, but he ends up getting beaten senselessly by Donkey Kong for a couple minutes. However, he does get another power-up, and this time it's the cat bell. Right out of Super Mario 3D World on Nintendo Wii U, or Nintendo Switch, depending on which version you played. Also, am I the only one who found it weird how we just cut to Mario already powered up and we never see the cat bell in the movie? Now with his cat-like reflexes, he defeats Donkey Kong and wins the Kong army for Peach. Later, they discuss a plan to make it back to the Mushroom Kingdom through a secret passageway, mostly to ambush Bowser's army. In order to make it back fast enough, they start gearing up in custom-made carts with AC/DC playing as they do so. So, in case you were wondering, the only Mario Kart games I ever played was Mario Kart Double Dash on the GameCube and Mario Kart 7 on 3DS. I have played other Mario Kart games, like I have played the Wii game, the DS one, and Mario Kart 8, but I don't know, I was happy with just these two. I never saw much incentive to own the other ones. Then we see Bowser practicing cringy pickup lines for when he sees Peach, and the funniest thing about all this is how into it Kamek is getting. But they are interrupted when they get intel about what's been going down in the land of the Kongs, with Bowser planning a counterattack, where we cut back to the land of the Kongs, and we see that the secret passageway is actually Rainbow Road. And like any time Rainbow Road is used in the game, it all goes to shit, with Bowser's army waiting for them, and I'll admit, this is actually a really cool action set piece. But they end up destroying the road, with Mario and Donkey Kong being presumed dead, and the Kong army being taken away. But thankfully, we see Mario and Donkey Kong survive the fall. But then they get eaten by what I think is supposed to be the giant eel from Mario 64. Yeah, I grew up with the DS version. Where we then see Peach and Toad make it back to the Mushroom Kingdom and tell everyone to evacuate, while they stay behind the fight. And when Bowser gets there, the first thing he does is try his lame pickup lines he practiced earlier. They obviously don't work, and so, as a substitute, he threatens her people in order to get her to marry him. And we even learn that all the prisoners he has are invited to the wedding as well, mostly to be sacrificed. Then we cut back to Mario and Donkey Kong still inside the giant eel, and they kind of have an emotional moment. But then they get the idea to use one of the rockets on Donkey Kong's cart in order to escape. Yeah, I think this is supposed to be a reference to the Donkey Kong Country games. Speaking of Donkey Kong, I really want to play Donkey Kong Bonanza, but Switch 2 is too expensive and too brittle for me to want one. Later at the wedding, Peach is horrified by how many people are about to be sacrificed, so she punches Kamek and powers up with an ice flower and freezes Bowser in ice, and stops the mass execution with the guests now attacking her. But luckily for her, Mario and Donkey Kong are on their way, but they get shut down. But luckily for them, they were stacking power-ups close by and used them to get closer, with Mario using the Tanuki Leaf to be able to fly. Right out of Super Mario Bros. 3. I never grew up with that game, but I did play Super Mario 3D Land, which had the power-up. With Peach still fighting, and ends up causing King Bomb to blow up, making her lose her power-up. And almost everyone falls into the lava until Donkey Kong saves them. Except for Luigi, who gets saved by Mario. But the reunion is short-lived when Bowser breaks free from the ice and fires a giant bullet bill on them. But thankfully, Mario leads it away to the pipe he came from, but the explosion creates a massive shockwave, making Mario lose his power-up, and then starts sucking them in, which takes Mario back to Brooklyn, along with Bowser and all of his minions. Man, this part of Brooklyn must suck to live in. Like, first it was flooding at the beginning of the movie, and now a giant fortress comes out of the ground, and God only knows what's gonna happen next week. Which makes the Power Star fall out of the castle, and when Mario goes for it, Bowser stops him from using it. Yeah, Bowser never uses the Power Star once during the climax. Like, it's right next to him, he can use it whenever, but he never does. Honestly, this defeat was on him. Then Peach kicks the star away far enough just so Mario and Luigi can power up with it, and the music they play is actually a really awesome rendition of the music from the games. And with this new power, they easily defeat Bowser and shrink him down with a mini mushroom. And with this, they are now seen as heroes of Brooklyn, which is kind of what Mario wanted before they ended up here. Then we cut to later, where it looks like Mario and Luigi are home, but turns out they're now living in the Mushroom Kingdom, ending the movie. Then we get a mid-credit scene, which is pretty much more of Bowser singing the song Peaches, but there is an after-credit scene where we see a Yoshi egg in the sewer. So, that was the newest Mario movie, and yeah, it's the most faithful to the games. Like, unlike the other movies where it felt like it had to make up half the stuff in the movie to fill out the running time, this one didn't feel that way. I mean, yeah, there was Mario and Luigi's extended family and their old boss, but that's only a little thing, unlike the other movies where they had to really pad it out. Like, with the Japanese film we looked at, there was only 3 Mario games at the time, or games Mario was in. There was Donkey Kong, Mario Bros. Arcade, and Super Mario Bros. On the Famicom, or Nintendo Entertainment System if you lived in America. So, it made sense to pad out the movie. But with the live-action movie, there was more games to take reference from, which it sorta did. But honestly, that movie, when it was being made, was a nightmare. Seriously, no joke. Look up the making of that movie and you might be horrified to know what went down on set. But with this film, it came out like 20 years later, and there were like over 35 years worth of games to take from, so there was a lot. And with how the live action film went, Nintendo was much more involved with this movie. And unlike the last one, it does legit feel like it was made by people who grew up playing the games and legit wanted to make a good Mario movie for both fans and people who might have been dragged to see it. And it clearly shows, because after 2 years, it's still the most faithful Mario movie. And in terms of Mario movies, it is a good Mario film, but call me crazy, but part of me still prefers the live action movie for how insane it was. But unfortunately, with the live-action film, it kind of feels like Nintendo's trying to bury it, because like I pointed out in my last video, all the DVDs are out of print. It was never released on Blu-ray in North America. Some Region 2 territories got, so I had to get a bootleg for a Blu-ray, which is actually still right here next to me. And the Japanese movie, not many people know about, so take with that as you will. But at the time of making this video right now, this movie's on Netflix. And, as you can physically see, I have the 4K, and it is on all forms of disc. So, DVD, Blu-ray, and, well, 4K. So, if you haven't seen the movie, well, why haven't you? Like, given how much money this movie has made, I'd be more shocked if you didn't. I mean, unlike the last two, it's really easy to find this movie. So, if you haven't, I still highly recommend checking it out if you're a fan of the games, or even just a little bit curious. And with that, I thank you for watching, and after watching all 3 Mario movies back to back for the 40th anniversary, part of me got thinking, for fun, next time I'm going to show you guys my Mario's DVDs and video games. So, look forward to that. See ya!